Hello and welcome to Channel 781 News. Our team took a break in December, so I'm here to update you on several different stories, and we'll be discussing some of them in more depth on our debrief show, which we will be posting very soon. The biggest news in Waltham, of course, has been the passing of long-serving Waltham police officer Paul Tracy, who was killed by a reckless driver on December 6th while on detail at a National Grid work site. Roderick Jackson, a National Grid worker from Cambridge, was also killed, and two other workers were injured. Officer Tracey was a well-known figure in Waltham who ran for city council last year. On December 15th, much of Waltham shut down and schools closed early for his funeral procession, which attracted hundreds of people. Nearly every local news outlet reported on this, so if you're interested in learning more about Officer Tracey or the case against the alleged driver, you can find more info online. The Fernald Institution has also been in the news recently. On January 10th, the Boston Globe published an op-ed calling out the handling of patient records left behind at the former state institution for people with developmental disabilities. According to author Oliver Egger, who's a descendant of Walter Fernald, when state agencies vacated the Fernald, they left behind documents including sensitive patient records, many of which have since been destroyed by vandals. Pictures taken by Waltham photographer Brian Parsival show files strewn on the ground outside and inside dilapidated buildings on the Fernald site. According to Egger, the city of Waltham committed to hire a security company to guard the site as a condition of purchasing it, but that hasn't happened, and it's been subject to extensive trespassing, vandalism, and arson. Egger cited a Waltham police captain who said it's not possible to completely secure the nearly 400-acre site due to its size. Also in Fernald news, it looks like the first stage of a plan to turn a large portion of the site into a recreational area will be going ahead. On November 13th, Mayor McCarthy asked the City Council to approve a loan of $9.5 million to fund a portion of the redevelopment, which will include a mini golf course, a universal playground, and a memorial. The Council took the unusual step of voting on that request without committee reference, and it passed. Due to council rules, it required a second vote, which happened on December 11th, and it passed again with Councilors Bradley MacArthur, Darcy, and Paz voting no. On December 3rd, those same three councilors hosted a town hall where community members spoke about their connections to the Fernald and concerns about the redevelopment. You can find a recording of that meeting on our YouTube channel. And if you're interested in learning more about the Fernald, check out the new Fernald page on walthampolitics.com. In school news, the Waltham School Committee has chosen a new superintendent, Dr. Marissa Mendonça, who is currently the deputy superintendent in Pittsfield, Mass. The committee interviewed two candidates on December 12th, and on December 20th, they voted to offer the position to Dr. Mendonça starting on or before July 12th of this year. Mendonça comes with about 25 years of experience in both urban and rural schools in Western Mass and a doctorate in anti-racist leadership. You can find recordings of those meetings on the WCAC website. In our neighboring city, Newton, schools have been closed since Monday due to a teacher strike. The Newton Teachers Association called the strike after it was unable to reach agreement with the school committee on issues including wages, family leave, and mental health support for students. Teacher strikes are illegal in Massachusetts, and the union will be fined $25,000 for each day the strike continues. However, in November, teachers in Andover, Mass, who went on strike for 3 days, succeeded in getting some of their demands met, including higher wages. If you haven't already, check out Chris's interview with one of the leaders of the Newton strike, a Newton teacher who lives here in Waltham. That's on our YouTube channel. There's also an update for people interested in Waltham Fields Community Farms, the nonprofit that operates the farm at 240 Beaver Street. You may recall the city offered them a 5-year lease to stay on the land, but the organization hasn't signed it due to unresolved questions and concerns about the terms. On November 27th, the City Council approved a request from the mayor to offer the organization a license agreement, which would allow them to stay on the land for 1 more year. That will allow them to go ahead with this year's growing season, but it's not clear what will happen when the year is up. On December 26th, the City Council had its last meeting of the year, which was the final meeting for outgoing councilors Paz, Darcy, and O'Brien. January 8th was the first meeting of the new council, which includes new councilor Bill Hanley representing Ward 3, former councilor Logan returning as the Ward 9 councilor, and former councilor Brasco returning to an at-large seat. The council elected John McLaughlin as president of the council and Joey LaCava as vice president. At that December 26th meeting, the council had to decide which of the items on its dockets to carry over to the new council and which to file. They voted to file several items with prejudice, meaning no one can introduce a similar idea for at least a year. These include the tenant rights notification ordinance drafted by Watch CDC and several resolutions associated with councilors Paz or Darcy relating to the Fernald, bikes, public transportation, and green initiatives. We'll talk more about the city council on our debrief show, so stay tuned. Thanks.